Did you ever play the wonderful Wii exclusive Waggle Fest that was developed right here down under, Blob?
I did not!
Neither did I, but it's just been released on PC, so what better excuse to dive in and get blobby?
Blob is a unique platformer that was originally released in 2008 on the then very new Nintendo Wii. The story takes place in Chroma City, a happy, colourful place inhabited by the just as colourful Radiants, bright, cheerful folk without a care in the world.
That is, until the dastardly Inked Corporation, led by Comrade Black, invades, draining the world of all colour and rounding up its citizens, transforming them into the monotone Gradians. Ooh.
Enter Blob, who bursts onto the scene and immediately joins up with the Resistance, who are known as the Colour Underground. This gang of ragtag characters are attempting to repaint the world back to its former multicoloured glory, and you are their finest weapon.
It's a very creative setup right from the start, and I have to say, the cutscenes and animation remain utterly superb. All the characters are just dripping with personality. In fact, I would say the villains are even more likeable than the heroes.
Oh, totally, they're hilarious. And it's such a unique setting too. All the areas you visit are initially void of any colour, having been drained by the Inkies and their cute little leech bots. By smashing these little guys, you absorb that coloured paint, which you can then use to splash all over the place.
And you'll need a fair amount of it if you want to progress. Once you paint enough of an area, a door will unlock to the next zone and eventually the exit. And to begin with, guys, I had heaps of fun mixing up new colours, making a mess of the place, adding cool styles, even trying to write my name with paint.
Voila! Magnifique.
I painted a self-portrait. What do you think?
It's very surrealist, Darren.
Exactly what I was going for. Along with sprucing up the place, you'll also need to complete a number of missions given to you by the underground crew. These range from splattering areas in one particular colour, destroying groups of enemies, and collecting enough specific colour energy to reclaim paintbot transmitters.
And it's nice to have these goals early on to help guide you about the world, avoiding the black ink and liberating the little Gradians. But guys, I have to say that after only the first couple of areas, I realised it's just the same few missions over and over again. Just rinse and repeat. Or repaint.
Good one, Goose. Though I do have to agree, after a while it felt just like busy work, especially unlocking those gates. The challenges do get tougher as you progress, but this was often done by simply decreasing the time limit or making objects harder to find.
Once you do complete a level, you will earn a medal based on your stats, like how fast you completed it or how much of the world you managed to paint. And it's always nice to have a score to chase, but I never felt the need to go back and 100% these areas. I would rather watch paint dry.
One of the major differences in this updated version is the way you now control the Blob. The original game utilised all the Wii's unique motion controls, like flicking the Wiimote to jump or shaking it to spray paint all over the world. But as this is now on PC, the controls have been simplified to basic button presses on either a keyboard or a controller.
And while I never actually played the original, I couldn't help shake the feeling that it was those original controls that made this such a charmer back in the day, because without them, it's kind of just a bland platformer.
Yeah, and it's a real shame because there is a lot that Blob does right. It's got a killer groovy soundtrack that picks up pace as you paint more of the world. And no matter how long you play, that feeling of slowly bringing colour back into the world never stops feeling satisfying.
This is becoming a rather common problem with re-releases of old games like Blob. While their concepts may be timeless, when compared to more advanced, newer games, they don't always stack up.
Yeah, that's true, Darren, especially considering how many games are now experimenting with splashing paint and ink all over the place. But I guess it is still nice to see one of the early games that pioneered such an interesting method of gameplay, and I pushed on through the game for those great little cinematics. So I'm giving it 2.5 out of 5 rubber chickens. What about you, Rad?
Well, while the controls and platforming felt quite dated, the sheer style and wacky personality was charming enough for me. So I'm giving it 3 out of 5 rubber chickens.
That reminds me, I need to paint my place. Do you want to help me?
That reminds me, I'm a blob.
Good excuse.